Series and heat race number 2. Going to be coming to you live in preparation for next week's TMB Ventures 450 from Charlotte to close out the inaugural XCAL season. Before we get started, going on the air just a little bit earlier, we got just over about 6 minutes or so until these drivers have to take the grid. We're down on pit road. We've found up with Paul Coleman. Michael Cozy Jr. is also here. Mark Arthur. And Carl, you're down there with the gang.
Yeah, how's it going, guys?
Going well.
Good.
Hey, just down here talking with we have Mark Arthur and Michael Cozy down here, our points leaders. And Mark Arthur, I hear you had a big role to play, on this setup here after they did that tire change on us. What kind of changes were you able to make, or what did you have to make in order to get these cars running the way they are?
Most of the changes was made by Houston Hammer. I was at work during the day when they made the changes, and they tried out the new one, and the new one was just able to just hug the bottom, that old boring racing here at Charlotte. And that's why we came out with the old setup, was to get away from that, so you could have 3 wide racing where you'd have to lift out going in the corners. And it was pretty tough. I mean, they changed everything on the setup from the wheels on up. I mean, you name it was changed. But they had a problem where the car was pushing so bad it was just eating the wall out of the turns, especially turn 4. So I just came in, made the car a little bit able to turn more, change the spring package a little bit, change the shock package to make it push the middle and not the enter and exit so much. So it was a little more drivable where you just let out the gas and it would turn the middle. So that's basically all I did.
I was down here in a couple of practice races with you guys here over the past week here, and I noticed these cars get very, very tight. We were kind of hinting on that in the first heat race here. Is there any way that you can get that car to loosen up? Or there's absolutely no way to make any kind of changes on this car right now, is there? You're doing a complete fixed setup?
Yeah, it's a fixed setup. I mean, there's a couple changes you can make with the steering offset and the steering ratio, but the ratio is already pretty low, so I don't know how much you're going to change it there. One problem that we did have with the setup, and I hope iRacing fixes it, is once the car gets tight, you can put more than half your car down on the apron, which essentially gives that left front more camber, and it makes the car just turn. I mean, it just sticks to the bottom. I think they did that one other time when they made a tire build change, where you were able to just stick it on the apron and drive the car, and they fixed it. So hopefully they don't fix it next week before our actual race and change the tire build a little bit more. But that's about the only way you can make the car loose or loose enough to not get out of the throttle, is driving those 2 tires or more down on the apron. But we put a rule change in that you're not allowed to do that. No more than half your car can go down there to try to keep people from doing it. I mean, I threw everything I could at the car to try to get it loose when you did it. It would get loose in the first 5 to 10 laps, but after the thing started pushing bad, you could just drive it on there like it was like it was glued to the track.
Well, you guys have done an excellent job here. That first race, any tell what this is going to be like? We're going to have a lot of fun here. I got Paul here. He's waving his arms and making all sorts of faces at me. What's going on, Paul?
Well, I'm standing right here next to Michael Cozy Jr., and there's one burning question here. Cozy, you're 150-something points behind in this championship. You just heard that Mark's played an integral part of making this setup. He kind of has that inside edge. What do you have to throw at him to get yourself up and even compete or have a sniff at the championship?
You know what? I'm not really sure, but I know he's probably going to be riding at the back trying to keep it safe, so I'm just going to start from the back and make my way through the field and try to get as many bonus points as I can to make up as much ground. And if a miracle were to play out, I might be able to somehow win the championship, but it's all I'm not really sure. So as I said, everything has to go perfect for something for me to get out front. So as I said, just going to try to get as many bonus points as I can and try to win the race.
Any team strategy? I know one of your teammates is not here for the heats, but your other teammate is currently pacing the field, number 1. So anything you can use off of him, or any help that he might be able to give you here in these races?
Well, we are running a fixed setup, so basically any data that comes from any of our drivers, my teammates Spencer Preet and Syandra, any data that they receive, comes back to all of us. So basically, from running all these heat races, as I said, I'm sitting out to, because I'll be coming from the back in the A main, so I'll be watching him and talking to him afterwards to see what he learned from the racing and try to put that strategy into the car, and hopefully, everything will go all right. But the setup, as I said, it's pretty tight, so anything that we learn is always great.
Speaking of strategy, one last question for you before we jump in the car. As you were saw me in practice, I did 122 laps and I popped a tire. Something that's never happened before here in XCAL or Street Stocks. How does that play into your head as you go forward, knowing that you can run probably 100, 120 laps tops on a set of tires?
It's definitely going to be big because with the setup, the tires, they fade out very, very fast and very dramatically. So that's definitely going to be a big part of the racing that we see next Thursday night. But I think I have a pretty good strategy. I think me and my teammates, we know what we're going to do to try to get the best result in the race. So hopefully everything plays out, but the tires, that is going to be very, very a big part of the race.
Sounds good. Well, Carl, we got 36 seconds till drivers are getting called to the car. I'm getting called to my car, so hopefully I can do a little better than I did last race. Back to you.
All right, Paul, thank you very much. And just want to invite Mike Cozy and Mark Arthur to join us up here in the booth tonight. Do some guest commentating with us if they want to.
I'm fine.
Sounds good.
All right, oh, yeah.
So we are getting set once again for our second shot at 40 laps to give us another qualifier here to get themselves locked in to that top 6 out of our 6 winners that'll walk away with a heat race win. Brock Colson has picked up the first W in tonight's event, and we've got about 40 seconds left in the qualifying session. A 30-minute open qual that currently sees the 13 of Dustin Adams on pole position. And Michael, we were talking in between the heat races about the strategy that you're not entering tonight's race or any of the heat races due to the fact, and obviously with the championship battle with Mark, as far as you need to start at the back, and if you want any shot at it, I think the magic number is you need 32 cars, you need max points, and you need that 12 car to get nothing to get that shot at the championship. So that's the reason why you're not entering the heat races.
Yeah, I'm gonna come from the back, try to get as many bonus points as I can, and try to get up through the field, lead as many laps as I can, get those bonus points. It's gonna be rough, but we'll see what we can do.
All right, and Carl, we have a little bit more time here, so let's actually run through the starting grid here. A little bit less cars than we saw in heat race number 1. Looks like 16 cars going to be taking the qualifying grid. Dustin Adams will start on pole position. The fastest time that he got down was a 37.385. Cy Andrews going to be starting second in the 24.
Yeah, starting in the third position, we're going to have Rod Weston in the car number 7. We have the 03 of Richard Holliday coming off on row number 2 in the 4th position.
Randy Hefner's going to roll the 73 off inside that number 3 row, position number 5, alongside the 44 of Aaron Keith in 6th.
And then we got Aaron Hillebush in the number 19 car coming off in 7th, and Jeremy C. Poole is going to be in the 8th position in the number 52.
Elliot Leach will be the 42 Machines pilot, starting in 9th. Christopher Mooney get around out the top 10 in a 55.
Then we're going to see Paul Coleman Jr. in the number 66, and Joshua Bronkowski going to be in the 193 and 12th position.
13th is going to be Chuck Smith. Last car to take a time, but a qualifying session, and again, a couple other drivers here on the field. Brandon Monsive is shown in 16th position as these guys get ready. Lights are off at a pace car. We're getting ready to do our 1 pace lap whenever it decides to leave this front straightaway. But again, 40 laps to lock in our second driver that's going to be moving on the 12 car of Mark Arthur. He's also, I guess the car's not joining us up at the broadcast booth, but Mark's also up here with us. And I guess the general consensus in between heat races, Mark, was this one's going to be a lot more crazy out there.
Yeah, I think like what Aaron Hillbush was alluding to earlier was that I think the more, because this setup is only a day old, we've only had 1 day to practice on it. So I think the more comfortable the drivers get with it, I think a little bit more chances they're going to start taking. You'll probably see a lot more aggressive driving as the heats progress.
So once again, we are now rolling in corners number 1 and 2. And again, the field a little bit smaller than what we saw in heat race number 1. And taking a look to try to get a number on it, it looks like there will be 14 cars that will actually take the green flag in tonight's event. Elliott Leach, Richard Holliday going to be receiving EOL penalties, it appears, per the race control, but it is going to be 13 of Dustin Adams, and I want to say control car, but again, they are forced to start actually on the green flag. That was something that, Carl, you touched on earlier.
Yeah, these guys are going to be going on green. They're not going to be going like they usually do where they could take off anywhere. They're just going to be starting on the green, and they said anybody caught jumping that will be black flagged immediately. So it's going to be interesting. Dustin Adams, he was coming on pretty strong there towards the end of the last race. So it's going to be interesting to see if Dustin's going to be able to get that Little Trees car out front and bring this car home for the win.
No stranger to victory lane. The pace car down to pit road, heading into the first dogleg there in the front straightaway. Quad oval, green flag flies. We are racing at Charlotte in the 24 of Cyander. Some major connection problems, and it looks like he blinked out on the start, and 3 cars literally drove right through him. That's not an expression. The 24 is going to drop well back in this pack as he tries to get that sorted out, though that's going to give an easy advantage early to the 13 of Dustin off of 2.
I was going to say, I was wondering what was going on there because I seen Dustin just kind of hanging back and Cyander was taking off. Is he going to get black light? But then I realized he was having some connection issues. Looks like he's got it straightened back out now. He has dropped way back here, though. He is now sitting back here right in front of, looks like, Jeremy Poole. So he's dropped all the way back to around 17th position.
And then scoring's get update, and we'll get an accurate number on that. And Cy's going to drop actually way to 11th.
11th?
As and it looks like he's actually just now going to get around to 42 of Elliott Leach. So 24 car back up into 10th. The move for second, Rod Weston trying to play some defense. It is the 44 of Aaron Keith down to back straightaway, and into corner number 3, going to make that a side-by-side battle and contact. Their door banging all the way through corner number 3. Still contact. The 7 of Rod Weston sideways. He hangs on into the fence sideways in front of the field. And there they go down the front straightaway. A huge wreck. The 52 of Jeremy Poole up and over. Multiple cars on their lid down the front straightaway. And that is going to go all the way to what happened there in 3 and 4, where it looked like the 7 of Rod Weston. He kept coming down, and 44 had enough of it.
I thought Rod actually had that saved there for a second, and then the car just hooked hard on him. And yeah, unfortunately, that did take out a lot of drivers in that melee right there. That's a shame.
And again, it looks like he was pinching down the 44 and really wasn't giving any room to Aaron Keith. Aaron Keith slides up a little bit to kind of shoo that car off of his passenger side door. The 7 gets loose, and I mean, he just clips. He hits that 52. The 52 goes around the 19, and that was a huge wreck. I see at least 3 cars going the wrong direction, upside down there on the front stretch. So the caution is going to fly. So on heat race number 1, we saw a caution about 7-8 laps in, and it was the only caution that we would see. We're taking a look at the replay right now as it comes up for everybody, but that's going to take a lot of fast cars, drop them back in the pack. Rod Weston, I don't currently see him on track. Jeremy Poole, I don't see on track right now. And we're going to try to get a little bit of in-car audio. Paul, you got a copy?
I do.
You were one of those drivers that was on your lid. The car looks okay for the circumstances. What happened?
Just driving through, I saw Rod get loose, get up in the wall. Looked like he saved it. I think he saved it and lost it about 4 times, and then finally he just broke loose, and I guess the wrong way. He thought he was going to go to the infield. He ended up snapping back up, and I think I ended up launching him onto his roof. We're pulling in the pits here. My crew's going to tell me how much damage I have, and I'll let you go in a second here.
Looks
That
like
is
we have a
the
little bit of a
66
surprise here.
car.
Aaron Keith did tell us in a pre-race interview that he was going to do something a little bit different here, and he decided he was not going to pit, and he did. He brought it down pit road, and looks like he took on 4 tires.
He came down, and that was one of the discussions in between the races. Was that, and we talked to him. If you checked in on that first heat race, the 44 car was up in the lead position, dropped back, and ended up finishing in 9th. That was all under green flag conditions. That was on a 2-tire strategy. He said that when he put those right sides on, the car flew for about 5 laps, and it hit a brick wall. So it looks like he actually, upon review, 2 right side tires once again for Aaron Keith. So he's testing the waters here, and I mean, this is the perfect opportunity to do it in these heat races, as opposed to testing it out in the main event. The main event is long, but you want to have this knowledge, especially with the new setup. Try out new things, because again, these tires very different. They're pretty much polar opposite than what they were before. A couple other important rules to note. Again, if you're just joining us. Some things to mention here. There's no fuel cap on these cars, so they can go 80 to 90 laps under green flag condition. Only 40 laps in the race. So the only reason that you would come down pit road, maybe to add fuel to give your car a little bit more weight to it, if that's the way you like it, or tires. Again, tires is a recently new factor in these street stocks. Again, you have no resets or quick repairs. All drivers 1 lap down, if they are still actively on the racetrack, they will get a wave by. The only car I see 1 lap down is Jeremy Poole, the 52, is in for some damage repair. And again, we've been talking about, Carl, the white line here acting as a double yellow like it does at Daytona and Talladega. The driver's not allowed to put more than half of their car below that white line. They will receive warnings at first, but if they continue to make an infraction against that rule, they will receive black flags.
Yeah, that's what they've been saying here. They haven't been able to stress that enough, I don't think, because I saw a couple cars get really close to that there in the early runnings of this. But yeah, they've been telling us nobody gets down more than halfway below that line, or you will receive a black flag. We were looking at the 44 car there as all that was unfolding, and as we were saying earlier, these guys are getting very, very tight. Pretty much right off the bat, and I think a lot of the problem there is, he was pinching Aaron down on that turn, and Aaron had no choice but to let the car kind of drift up, or it looked like he was gonna go around.
Hey, Paul, you got an update there on the damage? I see your 66 leaving the pits.
Yeah, we ended up getting about 2 minutes worth of optional repairs. Luckily, nothing forced repair. I'm going to start at the back, see how it feels. Hopefully, we get another yellow really quick, so I can finish up damage repair and then give these guys a shot for it at the end.
All right, so 10-4. So Paul Coleman, again, in-race reporter, currently sitting 12th. The last car on the lead lap has a little bit more time of optional repairs that the sim can allow him to make to his machine. As we get set, the lights have gone off at the iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car, getting set for what's going to be a lap number 8 restart. And again, heat race number 1 only saw 1 yellow. We've seen 1 tonight, and with a smaller amount of cars, the wreck's significantly bigger than what we saw, as opposed to that single car spin that we saw in heat race number 1. Front row is going to be Dustin Adams once again in the control car position. Over this time, it is going to be the 73 of Randy Hefner. Outside, again, the 24 of Syandra had some problems there with some connection issues on the drop of the initial green flag. That 24 car will be starting this time around on the outside of what appears to be row number 5, position number 10. So here we go, 55 of Christopher Moody. I do believe he's going to be the 3rd car in line, and the 03 of Richard Holliday going to be 4th. Those are the top 2 rows as we get set once again to go back green flag racing. Pace car gets set to dive down to the safety of pit road. There it goes. There's no anticipation here, because you're going on that green flag flies, and now they can get on the loud pedal. The 73 of Randy Hefner from 2nd is going to lose what was a side-by-side battle. It's going to be side-by-side for 2nd, with the 55 of Moody going to get side-by-side. that battle for second through 1 and 2, and it looks like Christopher Moody, the Monster Energy machine, is going to get it as a big wiggle from the 73 of Hefner up high.
Yeah, that was a very, very big wiggle. I was thinking he was going up into the wall there. Wanted to ask you there, Mark. Seeing a lot of bare bond tape on these cars out here right now, a lot of damaged cars. What kind of role is that going to play on the handle of these cars?
I think iRacing kind of goofed a little bit on this because what we were noticing in all of our practice sessions was, I mean, I had heavy right side damage one time on the right front, and usually that would just absolutely kill the car here. But I think they've taken so much of the aerodynamics out of all the cars that it just seems like that suck up in the draft just isn't quite as good as it used to be, so it's not affecting it if you have a little bit of fender damage. That's what I've noticed anyway. And that wiggle you guys saw, that is because of that low air pressure in the tire, and that first lap, and you go into that first turn, that's all. Every car out there, you'll watch them, they'll just wiggle, 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 but after the first turn, you're going into turn 3, and then it sorts itself out once the tire pressure builds up just a little bit.
Watching the 42 car there, Aaron Leach just drove it down hard in the inside of Christopher Moody there, took the second position away very convincingly. Looks like he's going to do the same thing, try the same thing here now on Dustin Adams as Elliot Leach, looks like he's got to handle this now. He's going to dive it down to the inside of the Little Trees car, and he's going to make a run for the lead.
And it looks like the 13 is having a little bit of challenges. 73 car in trouble. Randy Hefner appears to be slow out of corner number 4, and he made contact with the 24 of that Cy Andrews machine. That 73 car came down into him, made contact up into the outside wall is the UpstateCoin.com machine of Randy Hefner. He's going to drop to the tail end of the lead lap, but a battle still strong for the number 1 position. That 42 car flying, Elliot Leach, after starting in position number 9. He's on the outside of the 13 of Dustin Adams. Adams having a little bit of blinking and connection worries here in this race, but it looks like that 42 car is flying on the outside, and he'll have the advantage at the stripe.
Elliot Leach has this figured out, like I said, and yeah, he is out here. Like I said earlier, though, that outside line seems like it could be very helpful if you can get this figured out, get the push figured out of this car. It can actually help you out coming off of turns and actually give you a nice run. Basically what we're seeing the 42 getting right now on the 13 car there of Dustin Adams. But another one hard into the wall. Big
Elliot Leach from the lead position into the fence. Caution flag gonna fly up on his lid and over in Kearns number 1 and 2, or actually 3 and 4 rather, is where that is going to happen. And it looks like it was the 44 that sent him in unintentionally. Aaron Keith looks like he slides up the racetrack in 3 and 4 there, maybe trying to make it 3 wide. But the 42 car comes down to arc that corner a little bit, and it is the 44 of Keith that gets into the 42. Replay going up right now. And much similar to like we saw earlier, that 42 car trying to hang on to it, and ends up in the fence around. Look at the 03 of Richard Holliday with nowhere to go. Holliday's car becomes involved. The 19 gets a heavy piece of it. That's Aaron Hillebush's machine. The track was once again blocked for that one. And Paul Coleman, our in-race reporter, was able to sneak by that one. So the 66 car, Paul Coleman's able to survive. Looks like Christopher Moody thought about pitting. We'll think better of it. The first car that I see down pit road is that 54.
That's a shame with the Elliot Leach car. He looked like he was going to be a strong one and probably the car to beat there for a little bit. Had to take a tow. Wasn't able to get it back. He ended up on his roof, not able to drive it back into the pits, so he had a tow, which is going to take considerable amount of time. He's probably going to go down at least 2 to 3 laps.
Yeah, I was going to pick that 42 out as one of the fastest cars on track. Again, he started in 9th and was flying through the field. A bunch of cars down. We have Randy Hefner on pit road, Aaron Keith, Aaron Hillebush, Elliot Leach obviously down, Paul Coleman finishing his repair, the 54. Brandon is also down pit road, so at least 5-6 cars going to come down to take advantage of some sort of action on pit road, whether it be damage, repairs, fuel, and or tires. So the most cautions that we've seen Again, this is our second caution of the race. Heat race number 1 only seen 1 caution, and with a smaller field size, a couple of cars are out of this race. Again, Rod Weston, the only car to be officially off track. Jeremy Poole is off of pit road, or Jeremy Poole's out of this race as well. So both Poole and Weston not currently on the racetrack. Only car still active 1 lap down is Elliott Leach in the 42 car. Again, after being turned, after making a great charge to the front of this field, got turned in 3 and 4, and he actually ended up on his lid, so he was unable to drive that back to pit road. That's why he's going to sit down there for the tow, and you mentioned, Carl, that means he's going to lose a handful of laps.
Now, one more time, we'll see. Excuse me. One more time, we'll get down here with Paul before we go back to green. How the repairs coming there, Paul?
Pretty good. Repairs got good, except I was making some things as I was coming back in, and I just got black flagged again for the same exact thing I did the first race. So my race is done.
So black flag is, and it appears that the 66 car is going to receive a black flag under this caution flag. So the 66 team gonna have to serve that. Dustin Adams will be in the lead here. So let's bring Mark and Michael Cozy back into this conversation real quick. They're hanging out in the broadcast booth with us here tonight, guys. I know we talked about that this race might be a little bit more aggressive than heat race number 1. They do have less cars, but we have already seen 2 relatively large wrecks here in these opening stages. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Well, I think they got the crashes out of their system early. 2 unfortunate accidents there, but now that knocked out a few drivers, I think they're probably going to try to play it safe here and fall in line and see what they got for the rest of the race.
Well, unfortunately, it looks like we're going to see a lot of damaged equipment out here now. Taking a look at the Christopher Moody car. His car is all bent up here in the front end, along with the 03 of their Richard Holiday. His car is also bent up very, very bad in the front end.
A handful of drivers will be trying to limp home to the finish here, and in that draft, you could call it the great equalizer. Lights are going to go off on a pace car, and race control issuing a little bit of a warning to the drivers. It looked like race leader Dustin Adams gained about 5 miles an hour from when the pace car hit the pit road to when the green flag actually flew. So race control just reminding the drivers that you can't speed up a little bit before that, because you speeding up, slowing down, it could cause a little bit of a checkup back in the pack. So taking a look, it is going to be 10 drivers on the lead lap right now as our scoring is showing us. Randy Hefner and Elliott Leach, and actually Elliott Leach has now exited the race. So Leach, Poole, and Weston going to be 3 retirees in tonight's race. Only car still on track that's 1 lap down is Randy Hefner. The 10 cars sit on the lead lap right now. Pacing down the back again, we're going to be going back green to take lap number 17. You're watching heat race number 2, once again, XCAL Racing Series. And these races to set the grid for the twin qualifier, the twin dual races coming up next week in order for preparation for race number 20, the TMB Ventures 450 from Charlotte. Again, a fixed aero package in effect tonight, which makes that high line possible as opposed to the fixed street stock setup here where it's going to be a single file train. So we are getting set. Pace car rolls at a corner number 4 to pit road. Dustin Adams once again going to be the control car on this restart, and this time green flag going to fly right now. They're back at it, and a 55 of Christopher Moody with a decent start on the outside lane from that second spot. He's going to make it a little bit of side-by-side down into corners number 1 and 2. Can he hold it out there? The 24 car of Cyandra back up into the mix in third.
I think right now the best thing that Christopher Moody can do is probably get down in behind Dustin Adams here and do a little bit of drafting and try to keep that damaged front end out of the wind there. You got to figure, even though they say that it didn't affect it a lot, it has to affect it some. He's got a good bit of damage there across the nose of that car that's got to be detrimental to him out in the clean air by himself. It's going to be like a parachute kind of slowing him down.
So that 55 of Moody rides right now in what is going to be second place. Again, a lot of damaged equipment is leading to what we currently see a single file train that is just coming off fresh of this restart. These guys got to get back up to speed. The 66 of Paul Coleman appears that he has served his black flag, so he is back on track. However, Dustin Adams and the rest of the pack not too far behind as they work through corners number 3 and 4. Despite the first 2 yellows, only about 2 laps away from the halfway point in tonight's 40-lap shootout, the qualifier here. Cyandra, the 24 car, is going to push. Look at that push by the 55. Gets on the back bumper of Christopher Moody, gives him a shot down that front straight. It looks like the top 3 trying to pull away just a little bit on the rest of this field, but that 24 car is fast, and he's not afraid to try to make a couple of moves here up front.
Looks like he's going to take another look to the outside. Now back down to the inside of the 55 car. 55 car looks like he's trying to block him here a little bit as he is swerving back and forth there in front of Side, not wanting Side to get around him. I think he says he thinks he might have a car that's fast enough to get up here to the front, and he doesn't want to get past right now. But he better watch out. Side's going to get in his back of him and turn him around so he can have that position.
Yeah, that 24 gave him a shot going into 3 and 4 there off the corner there, letting him know that he is on that back bumper, maybe a little bit faster. You see 24 of Cyandra pulls back down in line, gets that run up to the back bumper of the 55. Does he step to the inside? Yes, he does. Can he keep a nose there, or does the 55 come down and shut that door once again? Not enough of a run for the 24 crew. They will pull back up in line, nearly 3 wide behind them. Looks like the 193 of Joshua Borje-Bonkowski on the outside is actually going to be the one that slides back. The 44 and 54 go to the bottom. The 24 of Cyandra, though, continuing to try to fight and find a way around the 55 of Christopher Moody. He finally has a nose in there going down into corners number 1 and 2. That's going to be side by side for second, and just behind them, side by side for fourth, the 44 of Aaron Keith battling it out with the 54.
As you said, Cyandra finally got the nose up beside the 55 car, but it looks like the 44 car there of Aaron Keith is going to go ahead and give the 55 car, Christopher Moody, a push back up in front of the 24 car. The 24 car cannot be too awful happy with that. He thought he actually had a pass going here finally, and was pushed backwards again because of the draft.
He's in the grass. Now, he cut that close to that white line at a corner number 4, but that white line cuts off that corner. And the 55 is not giving him any room, so don't expect these two to go out and be too happy with each other at the moment here on the racetrack. You see the 55 riding that bottom lane. The 54 has made it to the outside as they're going to go side by side for the lead around Paul Coleman. 3 wide. It's going to be up front. 2 of them, the lead lap cars. Looks like the 13 got a little bit squirrely there. Dustin Adams has to back off of it. So Paul Coleman hanging on to his lap for dear life right now in front of the 13. The 13 drives it through the grass to make the pass. That's new.
That was very interesting there. I was waiting to see if he was going to be able to hold it, and he was able to. Dustin Adams was able to hold that amazingly through the try over there and took the lead back over. But I don't know. There may be a penalty in his future there because he got to look like about the entire car down below there to make that pass.
Now, he was in the grass. So interesting to see if there's going to be a call on that. It is a lap machine, but again, that's I mean, that would be considered below the white line. That line's the bottom of the racetrack. But again, they do give warning, so we will see. But the top 2 have single filed out. The 44 of Aaron Keith evidently is going to win that battle on the outside lane, so he has single filed it out now. The 13 of Dustin Adams, half a car length off him. Those are the top 2 on the racetrack. And Brandon Monsive is in third in the 54 car, but that 24 of Cyandra still trying to find a way around the 55 of Christopher Moody. They're side by side for P4 down into corner number 3 as they try to negotiate the lap traffic. Going to see what kind of move they're going to put on the 66 machine. They look like they wanted to back out a little bit and avoid a 3-wide situation. The 55 of Moody's going to get right up to the back. He's going to push the 66 of Paul Coleman, and 24 of Cyandra going to try to go to the outside lane side, trying to finally complete that pass. He's going to slide up and a little bit of contact there. Christopher Moody's a little bit squirrely. Cyandra's going to complete the pass. Can the 193 get out there? Not quite on the wall. And the 55 slides in line in position number 5.
Just to allude on that rule a little bit to you guys, it's only in the turns 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. It doesn't apply, on the trioval or on the backstretch. And Cyandra just got a warning for it, by the way, too.
So a pass in the grass, as Dale Earnhardt did way back.
This was actually, I mean, he ended up getting passed, but this was full on 4 tires in the grass. And he held on to it too. I don't think he lifted either.
He wants to dirt track it.
Our rule on that is basically if you're back 4 tires where the Charlotte sign is, back in that pavement, then it's okay.
Okay. So that's just a little bit of clarification on that. Again, Mark Arthur is joining us up in the booth and giving us a little bit of an update on that. Well, the 55 is back around the 24. Christopher Moody regains position number 4, and Joshua Bonkowski in the 193 sits 5th right now. The 24 of Cyandra has dropped back to 6th, but those cars are all over 1.5 seconds back from the top three. Top 3 trying to pull away. Aaron Keith is leading. The 13 of Dustin Adams wants it. 13 steps out of line down the back into 3 and 4, trying to make it side by side. You see that car, he's trying to be able to get the hookup down there on the bottom. He'll get a good run, actually, out of corner number 4 for being on that bottom. He's going to keep it side by side at the stripe, and that's going to become door to door as they head to 1 and 2.
Watching Cyandra here, that he was thinking about making it 3 wide there for a second, thought better of it, pulled it back up behind the 55 car. Looks like he's going to go ahead and push the 55 car this time, see if he can get him around the 193 there of Bonkowski, but not going to happen. So he's going to try to make it 3 wide one more time. He dives it down to the inside, thinks better one more time, pulls it back up. Boy, he's just all over the place out here. He wants that position badly over the 55 car.
Dustin Adams will get the lead after dooring the 44 of Aaron Keith in the corner. So Aaron Keith drops back to 3rd. The 54 of Brandon Monsive will move up to position number 2, and the 13 of Dustin Adams will once again regain lead position, that time by 12 laps to go in tonight's affair, and we'll bring Michael Cozy back into this conversation. If you and your 88 was out there in the top 3, I know it's one of the questions that you typically think of at a Talladega or Daytona. What spot do you want to be in approaching 10 laps to go?
You know what? I'd rather be in the lead. I think I could probably make my car as wide as I need to be to bring it home number 1.
We've seen the block be put on by that 55 a couple of times on Cyandra. Those 2 cars can't get away from each other. They remain bumper to bumper 4th, 5th, and 6th, being Moody and Cyandra respectively. Contact, the 55 gets into the left rear of the 193. Joshua Bonkowski up the hill in 1 and 2. He'll cycle back in line. So top 6 cars on track have been divided into 2 sets of 3, and all of them single file for the moment.
Well, I tell you one thing that the 55 car of Christopher Moody has to take into consideration. Like we said last week, one thing the stock car drivers has is a good memory, and this kind of driving out there, blocking the way he is, could come back and bite him in future races here, because these guys are going to remember exactly what he did tonight, and they might not be too awful happy with him as we see Cy Andreas finally able to get up beside him here, try to get around him one more time.
And as they battle for that position, contact for position number 2. The 44 of Aaron Keith tried to get down to the inside on the 54 of Monsive and found that door close very quickly. And Cy Andrew's actually going to be able to get around the 55 of Christopher Moody. So Andrew back up to 4th, Moody back up to 5th. But those cars, very aggressive. The 55 on the back bumper, the 24 all the way through 1 and 2. The Monster Energy machine slides high as that car gets real tight on corner exit. And Cy is going to be able to take a breath for a moment as that battle for 4th place rages on. The top 3 separated by 2 car lengths.
One more time, Brandon Cruz is going to bring it down here into the turn here. He's going to look down low, did not make it work. Fell back in behind, and he's going to settle for second. One more lap by here. He's going to take another look down here on the tri-oval, see if he can make anything happen. Too far back, not going to be able to get up there and get a nose underneath Dustin Adams, but I think that's all it's going to take. He gets a nose up under Dustin Adams. He's going to be able to take him for the lead because he looks like he's a little bit faster going in and coming out of the turns.
And again, we could see a similar situation to what we saw in heat race number 1, Brock Holst. Again, all these drivers on a fixed set standard. But again, you can kind of learn to finesse that and be able to work the throttle just a little bit as these tires actually do take a little bit of wear.
Looks like the 55 car just hit the wall hard.
Christopher Moody is smoking and stopped down on the apron, and it looks like he is going to have trouble there in corner number 3. So caution is going to fly. It's going to happen. The 193 of Joshua Bonkowski goes to the bottom, and Christopher Moody, who was able to block the 24, tried to block one times too many, comes down on the 193, and then the 193 gets into him once more as he was sideways in front of the track. The 55 hard into the outside wall in 3 and 4. He's going to take a tow to pit road, and that's going to put us under what is going to be our third caution of the race on lap number 34. So interesting enough to note at this point. Again, XCAL, if there's a caution with 5 laps or less, they will stay green. So this final restart that's going to be coming up is going to be the last restart of the race. There's not going to be any more yellows.
And like I was saying before, sooner or later, driving like Christopher Moody was doing out there can come back and bit you. Sooner than later, it came back and bit Christopher's. One too many times he went to the well there trying to block somebody who was trying to get up and around him. Sent spinning hard into the wall. Lost the entire front end of his car. Doubt he's going to be able to bring that car back out for any kind of laps, because that thing is just junk.
And we're going to step away and take a quick commercial break here under this yellow flag. When we come back, going to be the closing laps, and we're going to determine the winner of heat race number 2. You're watching XCAL Racing on LSRTV. Going to have more from Charlotte after the break. Back live at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, XCAL Racing live on LSRTV tonight. Again, currently under the heat race number 2, all in preparation for next week's and the season finale here at XCAL, the TMB Ventures 450 from Charlotte. Back in the booth, Evan Pasoka with you, Carl Jones up here as well, Mark Arthur and Michael Cozy Jr. sitting in with us as well. Paul Coleman is our in-race reporter. And Paul, you're back down there on pit road. How's it going?
Things are going well. Just got a wave around, so I'm back in the lead lap. I'm taking some fresh tires and trying to put myself in the best position I can to have some for these guys. Car's still a little damaged, not running quite as fast, but with no yellows and these guys battling for the lead, and we've already had a record number of cautions tonight, anything can happen. Strap yourselves in.
I was going to say, we heard that 5 laps is as good as those tires will get, and then they start to fall off. It's going to be less than 5 on the restart. What do you think? What's your strategy going into this? Close your eyes and pin that gas?
Pretty much. I know the first three stayed out. They're going to be on old tires. The next couple, they're pit. Hopefully those guys will all tangle, and I'll be able to come through and collect the glory.
That is Paul Coleman, our in-race reporter. He is being shown currently on the racetrack, position number 9, last car on the lead lap, as again this is going to be our final restart of the race. Even if there is a wreck and iRacing does throw a yellow flag, they're going to stay on the throttle and race this thing out. We are pacing with the lights off of the pace car, so it is going to be a 3-lap shootout. And as we go down the back straight, we're going to get Mark and Michael right here quick. Who do you guys think is going to walk away with this?
I'm going with Aaron Keith. He just got 4 tires. That's going to make a world of difference to those guys in front of him. I don't know what Cy got. Cy went in for tires too, but he may have only got 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick Dustin Adams. He's got the track position. He's out in the lead. I think if he holds it around the bottom and gets fast, gets going and goes as fast as he can, I think he can come back around and win it.
So we are getting set. Corners 3 and 4 currently in the works as we get set for our final restart. A green white checker here. Pace car dives down to the safety of pit road. Dustin Adams going to be starting from the number 1 spot. The 54 of Monsivais on the outside lane. Green flag flies. Back racing once again. 3 laps to go. The 24 of Cyandra's going to clear the 193 of Bonkowski. He drops down in line as now the 54 is left alone on the high side. Battling now through corners 1 and 2. They single file out for a moment. Monsivais down in line behind Dustin Adams as they approach corners number 3 and 4 to take 2 to go. The 193 of Bonkowski dumps out of line. He wants to go side by side for 3rd. Can't keep that car down there. Cyandra will hang on to that for now. Does this turn into a 2-horse race? A huge run for the 24 of Cyandra, flying at 2 to go.
Monsivais took a look down to the inside, back out to the outside here. He's wanting this lead. He knows that if he can win this race, he does not have to worry about coming out here for any more of these qualifiers. Desperately, Brandon Cruz has been trying here for the last couple of laps here to try to get this lead. Not successful. One more time, he's going to take a look to the outside. Going to slam it back down. He said it ain't going to work. So, yeah.
Oh,
Monsivais just about got spun by the 24 there of Cy Andrea.
Cy gave him a shot. That's going to give the 54 a boost. The white flag is in the air. What is at stake? A stop-starting spot. The 2 duels next week to get ready for the big race. 1 lap to go as the 13 of Dustin Adams has it in the corner. The 24 is flying. Does he look to the bottom? Yes, he does. Side by side for 2nd. But will Cy get boxed in with nowhere to go? The 13 of Dustin Adams rides the bottom. He opens up a little bit of room. Does the 24 go for it on the bumper and contact? The 24 wants to stay on the gas. He goes to the bottom. It's going to be 3 wide at a corner number 4. Coming to the stripe, and Dustin Adams is hard in the wall. Cyandra gonna get the win as they wreck behind them. Bonkowski's in the grass. Dustin Adams is gonna cross the line sideways. The 13 of Hillebush is in the fence in corner number 1, still barrel rolling down the front straightaway. What a finish. The 24 steals it.
That
Wow.
was interesting. Wow. That was an exciting finish there. I did not see that one coming one bit. But yeah, 13 Dustin Adams got turned around, and it was on from there. Cy Andrea comes out with the win. Aaron Keith brings it home 2nd. And Brandon Cruz Monsivais comes home in 3rd position.
And it is going to be the 13 that actually initiates that contact. Dustin Adams in the middle. And he sees the 24 come low. The 13 just comes up. And, I mean, you see 4 lanes paid out on the racetrack. 54's up high. Monsivais got nowhere else to go. And the 13 actually comes up into him. The 54 goes around Bonkowski. The 73 gets in it as well. That is Randy Hefner. Paul Coleman entering and is able to get what appears to be position number, actually scoring, cycling through, looks like position number 8 right now. And yeah, the unofficial finishing results. But again, Cy Andren, we heard that he got tires and he basically moved that 13 out of the way. We went down into 3 and 4. He stayed on that back bumper. The 13 slid up just enough. I know that Cozy said he's got to hug that white line. He was unable to do so, and that would have been interesting to see if that 13 didn't end up in the fence. What would have happened between those two? Because that would have been a nose-to-nose finish. But real quick, Mark and Michael here, before we step away and get some guys set for interviews, what'd you think about that finish?
Man, that was a really exciting finish. Glad to see my Fatheads Racing teammate get into victory lane. Dustin Adams couldn't quite keep it on the bottom, and Cy swooped in and took the race.
Definitely so. Go ahead, Mark.
I was just gonna say that's just a product of impatience. I think people get down there and they get that 10 to go, and something just clicks in their brain that just it's like it's like all what broke loose in their brain. Sometimes I don't get it. I mean, sometimes it's better just to take what you can get and live to race another day. But some people, I guess, just just go ham sometimes, and when it gets down in those final laps, and they just I don't know, it's just no courtesy when you get down to those lower laps.
Definitely very aggressive racing, Carl.
All I gotta say is Merry Christmas, Happy Birthday, there, Cy Andrea, because you just had that one given to you. Wow, that was an excellent finish. Though he had a whole gamut of emotions running there. He was, I know, very aggravated with the 55 early on in the race there, and able to bring it home in first place there has to be a big relief, because I know that I would have been livid with the 55 car blocking me the way he did, and then be able to bring that win home. That has to be exhausting. That's all I can tell you.
Gamesmanship, blocking, hard driving, bump and runs. We saw it all in heat race number 2. Cyandra steals the win and locks himself into being one of those top 6 drivers moving forward into the twin qualifiers next week. We're going to step away and take our final commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk to our top finishers and get you set moving forward here. XCAL Racing on LSRTV. Post race show going to be coming up next.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks in terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
And we are back live here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, where heat race number 2 is going to come to a close. And we've had the quick opportunity down here on pit road. We've caught up with the driver of the number 44 machine. That's Aaron Keith. He's able to sneak in and steal a second place result in this. First place is the spot that only really matters in this, but Aaron, you're able to steal that. What'd you see coming out of 4, able to get around that one?
Well, I know last race I said I was gonna stay out there and see my strategy on worn tires, but it was too enticing after 4 or 5 laps not to go in and get fresh rubber when the majority of people in front of me stayed out. So once I did that, I was off strategy, and then at the end, Mark was kind of helping me out a little bit, my teammate, kind of playing some strategy to kind of learn from it as a team. And he told me to fake like I'm not pitting. I came down, faked the other 2 out, got fresh rubber. But the thing is, what I learned was with 3 laps to go, the fresh it doesn't really kick in. I mean, right at the end, it kicks in, like maybe the last half a lap on lap 3. And I think that's what Cy was able to use to kind of sneak under there. I don't know if he got into Dustin a little bit, but I'm glad something happened to give me a little better result. I screwed up this race, and I want to apologize to Elliott. I hate being able to race on when I'm the one who caused an incident and took out a bunch of good cars.
So you got to experiment a little bit. You get second this time around. Still 4 heat races left for you to try to steal that victory. Is your confidence growing a little bit? You trying to figure out the setup a little bit more?
A little bit. I've learned some. Now I think I'm re-looking at what I thought I knew, and I'll take it back to Mark and Aaron Hilbush and our Rolling Thunder team, and maybe try to experiment a little more to kind of finalize some of this data, because some things that I thought would happen in certain situations did not. So I think we'll be able to create a good game plan and kind of have something where we could say, okay, with this many laps to go, or in this situation, it worked out better when we did this. Of course, it doesn't always work out that way, but at least we have something to go with that yields a higher percentage result.
And 10-4. Well, you get second, and it was good to get some insight from you and your team in between these 2 races. Sponsors and shout outs that you want to throw out there before we let you go?
Again, Mark Arthur, Aaron Hilbush, Rolling Thunder Racing, LSR, as always. XCAL, if any of our fans are out there watching, all 1,000 of you, make sure you stick with us. We're going to be doing something in the off season. I understand that everybody's sad that next week is our last week, but we're bringing something bigger and better, and stay tuned.
10-4. That is the 44 of Aaron Keith, who's going to walk away with second. And our in-race reporter, Paul Coleman, snuck into victory lane, and he's actually caught up with the guy that's going to walk away with that checkered flag tonight.
Yeah, guys, last race I told you I'd be talking to you from victory lane. Unfortunately, your guys aren't interviewing me, but I'm actually doing the interview. But at least I held true to my promise. I would make it a victory lane. Standing here with Syandra, driver of the 24 car, snuck through, was able to make a miraculous pass on the last lap. All I saw was a bunch of smoke, unfortunately, from where I was at. So walk me through it. How were you able to do it, Sy?
Oh boy, am I glad I got those fresh tires. That was the difference between winning and losing for me. Because after that last caution, I saw Aaron go in, decided to go in with him, got those tires, got the pass done early, and then boy, that last lap pass was all on the tires.
So so you're saying 3 laps of tires? That was able to do it, because I was listening in a little bit on Aaron Keith's interview, and he said 3 laps of tires. He was just barely able to get enough use of his tires on the final turn of that 3rd lap. When did your tires kick in for you?
I was scrubbing and braking under pacing, so you know how the brakes kind of heat up the tires if you get them warm enough. I guess that could have done it, but at the same time, I was also racing really aggressive right from the start, lifting as little as possible going through the turns, and also optimizing the exit. So that's definitely the reason why I was able to get past the 3rd place driver on the outside and then stay there.
Yeah, what about earlier in the race, the 55 car, Chris Moody there seemed to have about 3 times the size of bumper as normal. What were your thoughts going through that? And also trying to pass some of the other lap traffic, not to mention any names, but how was the racing out there?
It was aggressive. The racing was tense, especially because only the 1st place driver gets locked into the duels. It was respectful, but at the same time, it was really aggressive. A lot of beating and banging, but you can do that in these street stocks without hurting it too much. So I guess people are taking advantage of that a little bit. And yeah, I was fuming a little bit inside the cockpit because I knew I had the faster car, and I just couldn't get by him.
And anything will carry over to our duels or the race, or are you okay?
I was experimenting with what the tires would do and how strategy would play into this. For example, should I get tires early, pit early, get tires on fuel, or stay out? And I pitted both times under caution. And I think tires is going to be a huge deciding factor in the duels in the race.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree. I took tires every single time. Unfortunately, I was damaged from the first wreck with Rod West in there, so I didn't really get to see too many of the benefits because my car was a little too damaged, but I totally agree. No, I was asking you, have any ill will towards Christopher Moody going into the duels or the main race at all, or you think that's water under the bridge?
Definitely. I don't really like to carry things over from one race to the next. He was just trying to defend his position, trying to finish as high as he could, and it was just unlucky that he had a damaged car. Otherwise, we could have raced more evenly.
All right. Anybody you'd like to thank there?
I'd like to thank everybody, my team, Spencer Pre and Michael Cozy Jr. And also I'd like to thank all the fans who are watching this. So yeah, that's all I really have to say.
All right, well, sounds good. We'll see you for the duels either Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on how things depending on how things shake up. Tell you, 80 laps tonight takes a lot out of you. Can't imagine what 300 laps is going to be like Thursday, but back up to you, Evan.
And I'm caught up with the driver of the number 54 car, where in all of that at the end, it was Brandon Monsivais on the outside lane in that 3-wide battle. What did you see from behind the wheel, Brandon?
Oh man, I was just seeing a good finish through it. I was happy finishing third or second or even the win coming to the start finish line. I totally didn't expect any of that to happen. I've seen it on the replay on the broadcast, and I'm telling you what, that looked pretty good. I'm sure the fans got a heck of a joy watching that. But I don't know, man. I just tried to keep my line, and that didn't work and all that. I was happy with just finishing second, like I said.
Well, you nearly gave the flagman a high five on the way by the start finish line at the end. So technically, you're still going to walk away with a third place finish. But again, everybody trying to bind for that top spot, being able to run up front with the likes of the 13 and the 24 car, and know what kind of things that they did to get them up there. I know that you kind of rode the back bumper of that 13 for a good amount of time there to try to get things sorted out moving forward into what's going to be 4 more shots at it for you as far as qualifying wise and trying to win one of these heat races. What did you learn in tonight's races?
Well, I learned that I could run with these guys. I got a comfortable car. I was really just using these heat races as practice. I was putting that on Facebook and all that. I prefer to ride in the back where I feel more comfortable at in these races like I did in the first heat race. And I wasn't really looking for wins in the heat races, just more practice and laps and seeing how these guys are going to race and try to get a good idea for the duels next week and for the main event. But I don't know. I got a really good car. Tires didn't seem to really affect me because I was still able to run with them. And I think I only changed tires once in that one, and it was pretty early.
And definitely, well, you get third and keep learning this new setup again, having to be changed after that new build came out on Tuesday. Before we let you go, sponsors and shout outs who you want to thank.
Well, I don't got any sponsors at the moment, but I certainly want to thank XCAL Racing for putting this entire season up since this is the basically last race of the season. I just want to say thank you to all that. I've truly enjoyed racing with these guys. I got to thank all the people that have helped me in my team right now: Alex Crapser, William Tex Perry, Chuck Smith, Rod Weston. They've all helped me out this season, and they've just been an amazing guy to work with, or amazing people to work with. And I got to thank William Perry for painting the awesome Tony Stewart replica paint scheme that I'm running. I absolutely love running it. So I don't know. And the admins for putting this on and making sure these races go clean and all that. And LSR for hosting us. This is absolutely an amazing experience to be racing and having these races broadcasted. So thank you guys very much.
We appreciate the kind words there, and I guess congrats on your third place finish. Did it in a little bit of style, and we look forward to seeing what you and your 54 crew can do next week moving forward for that big race.
Yeah, I ain't never seen a car flip the way I did across that start finish line, so that's a first for me, seeing the flagman like right out my driver's side window. But oh well, that's what you get from this type of racing.
That is the driver of the 54, Brandon Monsivais, going to walk away with a third place finish, facing the wrong way and upside down at the stripe, but nonetheless gets the job done in that regard. And Paul, we've sent you down. You've caught up with the 42 of Elliott Leach, who had a fast machine early, didn't get the result that he was looking for.
Yeah, we're standing here with Elliott Leach, who was actually Evan's pick early on in the race. You were flying. You were certainly the class of the field, doing something, running, I think, the fastest laps that we've seen so far in either of the two heats. What happened to you? How did the car feel at first, and then talk us through your incident?
Man, the car felt awesome. I was lucky enough to get a pretty good start. Saw a few people checking up ahead of me, and instead of slowing down, losing the momentum, I decided to use it to my advantage and dodge around a few people. Made some smart and some risky moves. Got up to where I was, and then I was running second, right behind Mr. Dustin Adams of Special People Racing, and Mr. Aaron Keith had a run on me, and I was on the outside, and I think he was caught in between Dustin Adams in front of him, and me being on the outside of him. So he did try and slow up, but I think that that tightened him up, which sent him up the track, clipped my back left edge, got me out of shape, sent me into the wall. Wound up on my roof, which was fun. Towed back to pit lane and found out that I had 9 minutes of my repairs to be completed, and pit crew just figured that it wasn't worth it to get it fixed up and to head back out so many laps down. So that was my race.
Well, tell me this: what did you learn? We got 2 more heats tomorrow, and then we got 2 more heats following. And as fast as you were, I don't see a reason, if you can keep it clean, why you won't move on through tomorrow. But what did you learn in getting there out front? I saw you did actually lead a couple laps. I think it was lap 10 and lap 11. You were scored as the lap leader. What did you learn going for tomorrow?
Man, I learned that we really need to be careful, especially since the the new update to the program changed the physics of the car and especially the tires. I must admit I didn't, believe it or not, I didn't get to have as much practice as most of the other guys out there, just unfortunately due to my work schedule. But it played into my hands, and yeah, you're right. As long as I can keep it clean going forwards through the next few heats and hopefully the twin qualifiers, we can get the 42 into a pretty good spot for the final race.
Well, you certainly going into tomorrow's racing are definitely my pick as well. Anybody you'd like to thank? Any shout outs, any sponsor stuff you'd like to say?
I'd like to thank the guys at Special Team Racing who brought me on as an affiliate halfway through the season. They didn't really know me. I joined XCAL pretty late, but I don't know. It must be my charm or something. But they decided to bring me on, and so I thank them for that and all the help that they've been giving me with setups and stuff, since I'm borderline incapable of working a car by myself. Yep, that's about it.
I know that feeling all too well. That's why I got into announcing. This is the only track I know how to drive. Well, we'll see you tomorrow. Back up to you, Evan.
And that's pretty much going to wrap things up. That's right, Paul. We talk because we will sit up here and we'll critique the drivers, but we try to get out there with them. And we'll probably be a lap down by lap 5. But thanks for helping us out there, not only in race reporting, but talking to some of the guys after the race. So, Carl, that's pretty much going to do it. We got to talk to a lot of the guys here tonight and be able to bring the first 2 heat races out of 6 to everybody. Closing thoughts before we step away.
You said 2 laps down. I'd be 3 laps down before we took the green. But anyway, great racing once again. That was
user disconnected from your
storybook finish there for our winner. But wow, I just can't get over how Montevay just flipped his car into 3rd. That was pretty awesome. Great racing. Looking forward to the twins, and then looking forward big time to the big race here at the end of the season.
And again, Michael Cozy Jr., Mark Arthur joining us up in the booth. Before we step away, Michael, closing thoughts?
Well, just after watching tonight, the great racing, just really amped for the main event next Thursday night.
And Mark, you as well?
Same thing. I did the same strategy Cozy did last. I did the same strategy last week that Cozy's trying this week, as far as getting the most bonus points as possible. This week, I'm probably going to do whatever Cozy doesn't do. If Cozy is going to lay in the back and try to get as many bonus points as he can, I'll probably just go all out and get up front, try to lead as many laps as I can, and every bonus point I can get will just, take his bonus points away. Is my strategy.
And again, thank you to you two for hopping up here in the broadcast booth with us and watching this heat race number 2 and giving us a little bit of insight. So thanks for hopping up with us.
Oh, no problem, Evan.
That is pretty much going to wrap things up here as, again, Heat Race 1 and now Heat Race 2 in the bags. Brock Colson and Cy Andra going to be the 2 drivers that go to victory lane and then secure themselves one of the top 6 positions moving forward to next week's twin qualifiers before we get set for Thursday night's action. A quick shout out to groupit.com, a couple guys over there tuning in to tonight's broadcast. Want to stay up to date with XCAL, xcalracing.com. Also going to be here, as always, LSRTV, as we get set to move into the final week of the XCAL racing season. Once again, thanks to Mark Arthur, Michael Cozy Jr. for joining us up here in the booth. Paul Coleman in race reporting and talking to some of the drivers down there. Carl Jones, once again, thanks, bud, for hopping up here with me. Laura Lawson down in the production hall are pushing the buttons and getting us on air. That's going to do it. So my name's Evan Pasoko, and again, behalf on everybody here at XCAL and LSRTV, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you headed into next week as we get set to crown a champion.